Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. Each and every week on the tier1trading.com platform, we do an accountability session where we interview traders and they keep us up to date about their journeys. Today's interview is going to be a really special one because I think it's a subject that many of you guys deal with. And it's kind of being lost in your trading, finding your way, trying to figure out how to get to where you want to go. So listen up.
When I started learning about trading, it was just like YouTube and, all these normal things. But I was very cautious. I did not trade live or do anything like that. I also there was like a conference in my city with an Iraqi broker. And he said the broker is going to give bonuses to the people who will open accounts or already in the meeting and stuff. And they gave me $100 bonus. I traded that $100, and I made I lost $25 in the beginning. Then I made like 30% on the remainder of that $100. So it was cool. It was, and in one day, like 30% in one day, I was like, oh man, if it's gonna come this fast, then I'm gonna lose it faster. So I gotta stop. Yeah, and I did not. Hello? I think you were muted, Jason.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that's a very wise acknowledgement.
Yeah. So I did not touch that account from that time, and it's still now open, and I still have the money. And it's been like 2 years. When I realized how much you can make and how much you can lose and stuff, I was like, I need to learn. And I started learning on my own first, and I took some courses on the internet. Then I involved with Tier 1 trading for a month. I learned a lot of things in that month, and I started backtesting. I backtested 6 strategies, not including the strategies that I was developing and tweaking and visually backtesting them. These strategies that I backtested these strategies. One of them was the daily chore. I backtested the daily chore on 27 pairs over 20 years. So it took me quite a time to finish backtesting them, and it was very profitable. But when I finished backtesting that strategy and I wanted to forward test that strategy, I realized that the daily close in my country is at 1 a.m. and I will be sleeping at that time. So I was like, oh man, I cannot trade that strategy. And I felt so disappointed. And then I was like, okay, let me backtest the same strategy over a different time frame. And I backtested the daily chore on the 4-hour. Did not really work with 1-to-1 risk reward. I tried with 1 to 1.5 risk reward and did not really work. And then I tried 1 to 2 risk reward, and it worked. And it worked only on 2 pairs. So and on these 2 pairs only, I had around 1,000 trades. Yeah, over 6 to 7 years. So it was profitable. But then when I eliminated the trades that I would miss because of sleeping at work and stuff like that, it was not profitable for me. So I just ditched that strategy. But I'm thinking now I'm thinking if I'm going to go live and I have these strategies that are mechanical, that can be automated, I would learn about programming and I would automate a system for them. I don't want to go out and ask a programmer to program something for me because I want to work on it and I want to be here when something happens with that system so I can fix it. Also, I backtested a trend continuation strategy that I developed. It did not work, but I'm so happy that I backtested that strategy because I developed that strategy on my own. And it took me time because I went through the market, studied the outside return, build rules around it, and also tweaked a lot of things in that strategy. Yeah, and it did not really work for me. But yeah, as I said, like I'm so happy that I backtested that strategy, and also I backtested a strategy with with structure trading. Um, yeah, and also it did not work because like the way that I see the market is just like in a mechanical way. Like I want everything to be perfect, everything to be perfect, and everything to be to the pip. And it does not really work that way. So I was struggling to identify the double tops and double bottoms, like because my rule says it's a double top and double bottom or double bottom, but in reality it's not. It's just a consolidation. So I had to tweak rules to and to build new rules. Um, so yeah, I spent a lot of time in the market, and I just like and that time like backtesting all of these strategies, like it made me realize that trading became so personal to me. Now it's not like about like, hey, I'm gonna find the profitable strategy and that's it, or do this and we're gonna be done. No, it's became so personal to me to the point where I don't care about the money. It's just like a personal challenge. I want trading to work, because if it's not gonna work, then I don't know what I'm gonna do in life, because now it became so personal. Um,
Yeah.
and now like I'm going through the course, and just to be honest, like I know literally every single thing in the course. I can recall Akil or you talking in the videos, and like I just know everything in the course. But I'm just going over these things just to make sure and be comfortable that I know these things. And the only thing that I need to do is to go over the market and apply these things, and just ask questions, ask you or Akil, and yeah.
So what is it you're struggling with now then? Because you've obviously tested a lot of data. You know that you want a mechanical system of some sort. You struggled with structure-based trading. You couldn't make the daily chore work because it wasn't your time frame. But what's the what do you need to work on now? Are you aware like of what your next steps are?
I want to work on my RAS. I want to develop my intuition in the market. I don't want to be 100% rules based. Like it's cool to have rules, but also you need some, some leeway, as they say. Like it's so, for example, like the outside return. I mean, there are some certain times where I see like it's an outside return, but my rule says it's not. So, like I tweaked a lot of things with these rules, and I did a lot of things, but there is nothing that I can apply on the outside return to say that that's the outside return. So the only thing now I can, like as I said, like I spent time in the market. Now I can see like I can compare this move to the overall trend and say is this an outside return? If it's not, then I'm gonna say it's not. If it's yes, then I'm gonna say it's yes. So it's just developing now, and I want to work on it more. Also, I want to work on my double tops and double bottoms identification. I don't want to use rules for them. Yeah, there are rules like to the structure and stuff like that. Like when the candle test the structure, doesn't need to be violated the structure or something like that. But I want to be able to identify them and to see the story behind them. Because when I identify something in the market and take it to Akil, he would say completely a different thing. It's not like it makes me feel bad a little bit, but it just makes me feel good because I know now there is something wrong that I need to work on. Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. I just want to have a feeling for the market, and I want to trust that feeling.
I think it's great to have a feel for the market and build discretion, but ultimately, in order to have consistent profits, you're going to have to have some type of consistent
yeah,
trading.
yeah.
So if you're saying, well, that's a close outside return, or that's an outside return, or that's not, how are you going to ensure that you keep that consistent, even though you develop the feeling for the market, as you say? That's the problem.
Yeah, it's just like I talked with Percent about this. It's even though now like I can like completely trust my identification and trust everything, but when it comes to trading with money, it's gonna be completely different. Now you're gonna be like if there is a gray area, it's gonna be hard to handle yourself and make a decision.
Yeah. Tony just said, how do you backtest gut feeling?
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah,
exactly. And not only backtesting, but the performance of your business. Like, how do you have metrics going forward to know if something isn't working anymore? What about when you're identifying things that you've got a good feeling for, and it's working for a year, and then it starts to decline, and you don't know why? How do you know what to do about it? Those are the things where you need consistent rules. That's where
and that's the problem. Like when it comes to the outside return and stuff like that, like I try to make rules, and I try literally everything, but it doesn't seem like to be to be working with me. That's why I just need to spend more time in the market, figure out new rules, and see what works and what's not. Like when it comes to the outside return, I use like Fibonacci. I use two low closes. I use the also the ATR as an indication of the movement and stuff like that. I used a lot of rules, but they don't really seem to give me something that I would. It's as I said, like there are some certain times where you say like it's an outside return, but your rules says not, and sometimes it's gonna be the reverse. So that's the problem. That's why I need to like spend time in the market and figure out new rules and just ask questions.
I think what you're more likely to do, and what's the wiser option, is you're going to build discretion and get more of an understanding for how price moves and a feeling for the market, but only to add more rules so that you can adapt, so that you can say, okay, well, it's an outside return by these rules. Unless it's doing this, then I can change it and do this, but it's still a rule. And I think that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get discretion to build in other rules that kind of eliminate other rules, but it's still rule-based. Look, I'll be honest with you, it has to be 100% rules-based. You can build rules whether or not you are, even what you're saying, you might say, well, I really like the look of this setup, but my rules say it's not a setup. By building discretion and adding to your kind of knowledge of the market, what you'll be able to do is go, well, okay, it doesn't meet that rule, but I know that when it does this, it overrides this. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that in itself is a rule. That is a rule. So that's what you're going to start implementing. My fear is that you'll go on a journey of never actually doing anything. Like you'll just keep going, oh, but that's not good enough. So my question to you is, what is good enough? What are you looking for? Because you say it didn't really work, or it's not really what I want. What are you looking for?
What I'm looking for is something that I can trade consistently without having to feel anything about. Like I don't want any feelings to it. Like I want to trade something and just to see that thing and just trade it without feelings. Because whenever I have feelings, then it's gonna be hard. Like my life is gonna be it's gonna be messed up, because there are gonna be stress, and the only thing that makes me want to trade is to be out of stress from like life and work and stuff like that. So I don't want feelings. That's why, like, even when I shared my structured trading strategy with Akil, it was 100% rules based, and it was based on structure, and that's why it did not work, because it was 100% like rules based. And
But
like,
if it wasn't 100% rules based, isn't there more probability that feelings will be included?
yeah, that's my fear, and I'm just like if when Akil trades, he has rules, but he has also like some like gray area. I would say not gray area, but
He
he would
has
say this is a
discretion.
double top, and this is not, and I
The,
cannot see the difference between them.
the
Yeah, he
difference
has
is
discretion. Yeah,
the difference is he's using discretion to not take trades. It sounds like you're trying to use discretion to take trades, more trades. That's the difference, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's always looking for reasons not to involve himself in a trade, and he's using his discretion to do that, not the other way around. If you're using it to get involved, depending on the chemicals going through your body at any given time, you will feel differently. You'll go, oh yeah, I feel like I should take that today, or I'm not going to take that today, and that will be a problem. So maybe have a think about that. But I would urge you to kind of, if you don't want feelings, you definitely want 100% rules-based system. If you want to implement discretion into the market, then you just have to go through and put reps into the market and understand different price points and respected structure zones, and kind of have an overriding rule for, well, I couldn't normally take this, but because of where it's at, I'm going to take it, or I normally need this entry, but because it's where it's at, I'm going to take this entry instead. And then you can go and test those.
yeah.
So that would be my advice for you.
Yeah, yeah. But wouldn't that like give me feelings? Like wouldn't that like affect me in a way that would mess up my consistency?
Yeah.
Like
but from what you're telling me is that's what you want to add your discretion. You don't want 100%. So from what I'm hearing, it's like you're trying to do something that you don't want. And what you were doing, which was creating 100% rules based, is what you want, but you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it's like it's a problem. Like when I make 100% rules based a strategy, it does not work. And like like I develop a lot of systems, mechanical systems, and they did not really work. It just gives me the feeling that mechanical systems don't really work with me personally, because I just don't understand why they don't work. Like so that's why like I'm just trying to understand how to develop that discretion in the market, and how to build rules around it. Yeah.
I can tell you, mate, I've built quite a few businesses that didn't work. Eventually they do.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's up to you to make it work. It will work. Like there's nothing but logic in building a system that you can test and see results for. Like they do exist, and it's up to you. Of course you can make money. Of course you can build a system around that move that's profitable. It's up to you to put the work in and do it. And you do use your discretion and reps in the market to refine that and make it better. That's what our traders are doing, but that's a process. And I wouldn't beat yourself up for not finding something that works on one or two systems. Tony, how many strategies have you tested and you've scrapped? I can tell you, I've probably scrapped 3 or 4. Tony scrapped way more than me. Tony sent me his archive of tested strategies once, the screenshots, and it was just folders and folders and folders of screenshots that he didn't do anything with that in the end. So I think keep at it, mate. Keep putting the work in, and you'll find your way. That's my advice.
Sure.
But I appreciate you coming on. This has been a really valuable discussion, particularly for all the newer traders as well.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so
mate,
much.
thank you for coming on. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
guys enjoyed the podcast. Remember, I got weekly videos over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Akil Stokes. Check it out. Subscribe.